projects. Yes, question?
Yeah, sorry, we can't see you.
Yeah, okay, so...
Sorry.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
see the other guy, this Tom guy. I don't want to see him all the time.
So yeah, this is something that we can do. So
sorry, Tom.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let me see. Okay, do you see me now?
Oh yeah, good looking.
Yeah,
yeah. Thank you.
So you're welcome. So we can in the college they asked me to do not force you to turn on your camera, and that's why also my camera is off, and I turn it on now because and it is good to see you. So please at least today turn on your camera so we can see each other one time, right? Yeah. Thank you very much. But because sometimes people living in small apartments, kids, family, maybe the environment is not quiet and they are not comfortable turning on their camera. So in college, they ask me to do not force a student to turn on their camera. Usually the camera is off, except for the exam that you must turn on your camera. So I expect to see you when you're doing your exam. Otherwise, you don't have to. Okay, so as I said today, I'm going to just do some review and our Android development class somehow going to start from Monday. And each day we are going to implement a project. So at the end of each day, you have a new application, you can install it on your phone and it is functional, it works, right? So if we have, I don't know, 12 days, each day one application, so we are going to implement 12 applications at the end. I will give you a vision about the project that we are going to do, right? So let me show you here. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, do you see my screen? Yes?
Now, yes.
Oh, okay, so I'm going to go to John Abbott and then I go to Android profile. And here you can see. So we are going to start with UI. So you will see how you can build UI in Android Studio. It is mainly XML. It's very similar to what we do in HTML. The tag names are completely different, but the idea is the same. And we have different type of layout, we call it in Android. We have different system to building layout. As you know, when we have a layout, always we have to talk about two things. What are those two things that always you have to talk about and define it when we have a UI? Right, yes?
Could you repeat, could you please record?
Pardon, one more time?
Could you please record?
Yeah. When I start, teaching, I will recording definitely. I will all session that I have in the afternoon, I will record. But when we just have a discussion like this, and I'm not teaching basically, not at that time. But when I start going to Android Studio coding, yes, I will record all of them. So I ask you, when we want to create a UI, we have to talk about two things always. What are those things? Two things that you have to define. No answer? So we always have to define dimension and location. So here, if you have a square, what is the dimension of this square? And what is the location of this square? It is in the top, in the middle, at the bottom. Where is it? And we have different system in Android for defining UI, and we see here. Maybe you want to have some overlapping or scrolling, so we will do how to do that. Then a bit more complex layout, step by step. And maybe you want to customize the widgets that you have. So this is not a standard button. As you see here, we have a gradient with the three different colors. The corner curve, we have a border. We will see how to do that. And then we are going to implement one layout with three different approaches. We have relative layout, linear layout, grid layout, layout and many other type of layouts that we are going to talk about them one by one. And then here you will see how to do event listener, how we can have an event listener receive simple, I don't know, number and do summation, some calculation, and again present the data. If we have other type of user input, this is edit text or radio buttons or other stuff that we have also in the web, right? We will see how to do them. Then we are going to see what we are going to do if we want to pass information from one view to other view, or here we call it activity. So how we pass information from one activity to other activity. What if the information that we want to pass is just a primitive, or if it is an object, or maybe we are going to have an array of object, or maybe it is a complex object, how we are going to pass that and how we can receive it in other page that we have, retrieve the information and present it for user. Another scenario that we have is when we go to other activity and then there we want to maybe process, analyze something, and then we want to return a result to the main page, how we can do this communication. And here in this project, we are going to use everything that we had till here together. So here we do CRUD, create, do, read, delete, update. From an array of elements, we pass it to other activity, we sort it and filter it. As you see, all UIs that I have here are super ugly and very simple, and there is a reason behind it because we don't want to spend much time on that. If you want to create very fancy UI, it's going to take a very long time that we don't have. So the goal of each project is to teach you one concept. So it is like a Lego that I'm going to give you the building blocks, and I'm going to explain how each block is going to work, and then it is your job to merge all of these blocks together and create an application. Here it is a drop-down menu, and we call it spinner here, and we have different type of spinner that we are going to see. This is a list view. List view is the foundation of many mobile applications. For example, when you go to eBay application, Amazon, or other ones, so you are basically see a list view. It is list of items. This is a very simple list view, and here we just have a text, but it can be also an image with text and description and price and button, and you press, you go to other page, other activity, and you can see more details. So we will see how to build a simple list, and then we are going to add more and more stuff and make it more and more advanced. This is another version of that list, and when you click on this list here, you will see different page, different update the UI. For example, who knows who is this guy? No? This is Dennis Ritchie, inventor of C, and all languages that we use nowadays, like Java, C#, and others, are C influenced. So this guy did a lot for computer science. Again, here, when I click on each of these elements, you will see them on top. And also here you will see, because here we do event-driven programming. Not only we do object-oriented, but also event. And the event can be user touch, for example, touching one of these elements. And we want to handle click and also long click. So we will see how to handle both of these scenarios. Another thing that you have to think about is when your user is going to change the orientation of the device. So we go to landscape mode. We will see how to do that. And this is a simple math quiz. Maybe I'm going to ask you to implement it as one of assignment or projects. So the idea here is when you click on generate button, you're going to have a question here, going to validate the user input. So you can input some user number and you will validate the user entry. Clear, going to clear the text, and then you can go to other activity and see the list of all answers. You have to calculate the percentage of a score, right answers. And also you show list of elements. Probably here you are going to use list view, and I'm going to ask you to sort it ascending, descending based on right answer, wrong answer, these kind of things. This is a more complex view and menu that you see here. It is more advanced, and in this project you will see how to send a text or make a phone call. So how you can create a list of phone number and send them a message or make a phone call. We will see. This is a grid that you can touch and change. So how we can touch a grid and change the value. For example, here you can enter a number and touch the grid here or here or here, and then it will be updated. These are another form of list views with checkbox and check marks. We have many different formats you will see. And in this project, we will see how to read an XML file or a JSON file and process XML and JSON, right? It can be a local file or it can be from an endpoint. So we have two standards, SOAP and the JSON. Who knows what is SOAP? Did you work on SOAP? No?
No.
Did you hear about SOAP? Or this is the first time you hear SOAP?
We heard, but now nobody explain us.
Okay, nobody. So this is, again, another list view. As you see, this is like a phone book. We have some images, details, and when you click on this icon, you can make a phone call. And by clicking on this icon, you can send a text message to user. This project is kind of advanced list view, and you can feed this list with 3 different type of resources. One of them is JSON. So you can read from a JSON file or from an XML file, or you can read from database. So we have one presentation, but 3 different data source, right? We'll see how to do that. Again, this is another list view project, and how to have web client actually in your application. It is not a browser, it is part of your application. So when you want to browse URL, you have 2 options. You can call another application like a browser. So from your application, you call your browser, maybe Safari, maybe not here, we don't have Safari, maybe Firefox, maybe Chrome to open the page that you want. Another option is to have a embedded client inside your application to present that page. So maybe it is going to be like this, just an XML. And here we have an issue. Maybe we want to do it in another thread. So we will work with multi-threading and see how we can create different threads. This is a weather application, calling an endpoint, receive information, present the weather information. And we have different libraries to call an endpoint like retrofit or volley or async task, and we will see. This is another one about dog breed. This is another application with Android X, which is the latest technology in Android, introduced in the end of 2018, right? We will see about Android X and architectural components, how it works. This is a progress bar that's going to show the progress, right? And this is alert dialog. We have different type of alert dialog that's with radio pattern, multiple selection, or other types that you will see. This is the toast. Toast is a simple, small message that sometimes you see in your screen and it's going to disappear after a few seconds. And we have different type of toasts. Broadcast receiver is a mechanism in Android to send a message to all applications. So it is like a radio station, and it is going to broadcast an object, and all application can receive that message if they registered for that station, right? For when you have a radio, you can tune your radio to listen to the specific radio station, and then you have the information from there. So different application can register for that. For example, maybe you are in low battery situation, so your operating system can send a message to all application that we are in low battery situation, or maybe no antenna, or maybe you are going to go to a specific location, so you have a GPS, and this GPS going to want to notify all application about the location that you're there. When you want to write information in the disk, we have different options. You can write as a text, or you can write as a binary, right? as object, and we have different storage in Android. We have internal storage, external storage, cache, different things. So we will see that how to write to internal, external, privately to your application, or maybe publicly in a way that other application also can use that information. We have some information private to your application, and when you remove your application from your Android device, they will be removed. And we have some application that's going to stay in your mobile device. For example, when you have a photo application and you take a photo, you don't want to remove that photo. When you remove that photo application, it's going to stay in your device. Maybe other application going to use it. When you download the music, maybe again the same story. So you want to be able to play it with different players. So when you remove the player, does it mean you want to remove the music that you have in your device? But sometimes some data are private to your application, and as you remove the application, you have to remove all information. So we have different storage here. This project show a concept of fragments. Fragments is a little MVC. I can say each activity that we have that covered the whole screen is an MVC, and we have other approach like MVVM and MVP, which is more advanced version compared to MVC. And this fragment actually is a small MVC nested inside another MVC. So we call it fragment, and in many applications we use it. Here you can see I have different tab. You can click on tab A, B, C, or swipe to the left and right and change the page, right? And in this project show how to play audio, how to play video. Again, here we have to do multi-threading. We want to be able to increase or decrease the volume. And also we have a progress bar that we can go forward or backward. We'll see how to do that. Again, multi-threading here, we have different UI elements and we want to move them. And you can build a game like this, this guy going to block these elements. That's Pac-Man. This is not a Pac-Man game, but anyway. These icons going to move randomly, and when they touch the border of the phone, going to change their direction, and this guy should block them, and then they can have a score, and they can be in different threads, and we will see. This is another game, and these are more advanced version of drop-down menu, and these are more advanced version of UI that you can have different tabs with, I don't know, description, or this guy going to scroll to the left and right. Here you have it with image, and you can also swipe. This is a card view. This is a small presentation that you can use it in your list and make a grid, and many other projects. Honestly speaking, we never managed to finish all these projects in IPD, and it is very obvious because the time is limited. My speed is based on your speed. So if you go fast, I will go fast. You go slow, I go slow, because I don't want to teach these things for myself, right? I already know that. And I know that your goal is not to be a mobile developer. Alan told me that you're working on your internship and I don't know, interview and this kind of thing. I know that it should be a balance, so you have time to work on those tasks as well. Okay, so this is an idea about what we want to do in this course. Any question till here? No? Any suggestion?
I have a question about our lecture and the lecture from the morning, how it will be.
Yeah. The idea is, because I have a class in the morning, so I cannot teach you in the morning because it has a conflict with other classes that I have. And Alan didn't want to postpone this class for a long time because I'm fully booked for next, I don't know, 2 months maybe. So, because also it is your last course, they didn't want to have any delay. And based on the feedback that I received from them, their students generally, they are not comfortable with having a long class in the afternoon because of family, kids, and other issues. So that's why we have this class in this format. In the afternoon, I'm going to teach the new concept. So I'm going to talk about, let's say, async task, broadcast receiver, SQLite, cursor, I don't know, different things that we have here. And I'm going to share a simple project with you, and tomorrow morning you're going to implement a project with Santosh, ask your question, debugging, having more examples, and basically you try to solidify your knowledge and fix any issue that you have. Always you can ask me question, and also you can contact me by Mayo. Moreover, we have this option to have some private sessions, kind of. So if you have something that you talk with Santosh and it doesn't help, or maybe not going to work, and you want to talk with me or ask me to explain it more, you can send me an email. If I see it is something that's maybe going to be beneficial for other students, and I feel that I have to repeat or expand that concept, I will. And if not, we can arrange a meeting. And Alan also asked me to record the class because maybe some student cannot join a class in the afternoon. So when I start teaching Android, not as I say, general conversation or review, not that. When I start teaching Android, I will record the class and you have access to recording. Any other question?
And we will start from 3 till 5:30.
Yeah, we will start from 3 to 5, 3 to 5, 5:30. Let's see, it depends on the concept. Maybe sometimes it's going to be a bit sooner, maybe a bit later, right? Anyway, I want to finish the concept that I started. And then tomorrow morning, you will work with, again, Santosh, and I ask her to be a bit flexible to be sure that whatever we cover in the afternoon, tomorrow morning, you are 100% okay with that. We can start a new topic. So you know that it is very, everything is very compressed in this program. It is like a boot camp. So boot camp, one after the other one. And there is no space in between to breathe. You know, it's every day 5-hour class, and I know it's a lot, and I know you're tired because of this long run. So I want you to know that my exams are never a speed test. You will have enough time in my exam always, so just relax. I want to see that you can present yourself in the best way, right? Moreover, I never ask any question in the exam which I didn't cover in the class, so it will be 100% based on the topic that we have, and you will not be surprised, right? In addition, always I give you hints at the end when we have an exam or midterm or final kind of reviewing. I will tell you what other things are important. Usually we go through the project, or in some courses that we have slides, I go through all the slides and say, what I expect from you to know from this slide or that slide or this project or that project, or what are the things that are important for me. So exam are not surprise. Nothing new that you face it for the first time. I believe that always strong, good students must be able to finish the exam before the time, sooner than the other, and get A+. The other may be a bit slower till at the end, or maybe some students don't finish the whole task. But anyway, the exam should be very balanced, so everybody benefit from it. And I'm going to break the exam to small pieces. For example, if it is 20 marks, so I'm going to break it to 2 marks, 2 marks, 2 marks. So each feature going to have mark, but only functional feature going to receive marks. So if you just copy paste some code, or if I cannot run your application, 0. So I must be able to run your application, okay? And then you only receive mark for the feature that's going to work. For example, I ask you to put a button here, 1 mark. When I press on that, going to do this, another mark, right? So it is very clear, you go one by one. So the approach of just copy pasting a lot of things, and at the end, nothing works, but you have a lot of code that some of them maybe are related, some of them don't, 0, right? Another thing that you have to know is for the project, I don't need your project. So when I ask you to do the project, it is for you, and the project itself doesn't have any value, 0. So I will ask you to present that project to the class. So what is the advantage of presenting your project? First of all, based on experience, a student going to implement the project with different approach so you can learn from each other. Moreover, when I give you comments, again, you can learn that why you did it this way. You had this option to implement it in other way, again, it is beneficial. And I will see that it is your work, it is genuine, you didn't copy, because I will ask you how you did this, how you did that. And those answers will have mark, right? So if somebody copy, paste, and submit the project, 0, okay? But as I said, usually the grades are very good, marks are very good and high. 100% based on what we had in the class, no surprise. I will give you hints. You will have enough time. It is not going to be a speed test, right? Any question?
Yes, Masoud, I just wanted to ask,
Yes.
as for exams, they will be in the morning hours or from 3 to 5?
This is something that I don't know. So it can be in the morning, yes. If you're, for me, it doesn't matter if it is going to be in the morning or afternoon. Probably in the morning, because the class originally was in the morning, and maybe some student complained that they cannot join the class in the afternoon. So probably it is going to be in the morning, but I have to ask from Alan. Maybe Alan going to say, no, you have to be in the, while we have exam, I have to be in the class. If that's the case, it is going to be afternoon because I have other classes. But if not, so it will be with Santosh, and Santosh was my student in mobile, so he is a mobile developer. His knowledge about Android is far more advanced compared to what we want to do here. So he's good, and you will not have any problem with him. And he is a very nice guy, so it can be also in the morning, and Santosh will be with you. Moreover, it doesn't really make any difference, because usually when we have an exam, I don't answer any questions. So I share the question, right? And then I ask you to ask me any question that you have, right? If some part is not clear, I explain what is the exam, what is the project, right? You can ask me any question that you have. And when everything is clear, that's it, no more question, and you just implement the project to the best of your knowledge and skill, and then you submit it on the app. So that's the process.
Okay, thank you. And when will be our first exam? First, it will be the theoretical test, right?
Yeah, so actually it's not just the theoretical test. It is both of them, midterm final and project that you have. All of them are practical, but usually I have one a 10%, 15% theoretical exam. It can be part of your midterm or final. I just notified by college that I'm going to have this class, so everything happened very fast. It's just I yesterday finalized everything, so I'm going to create an outline for you, and I will upload it during the weekend, so you will have the outline. Also, I will talk with Alan to see if it is going to be morning or afternoon exam. So I will upload the outline. You will have the topic that we are going to talk about each day, and evaluation chart, and also everything, when the date of midterm and final.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? Yes. Right. Yeah, Santosh told me that one of the students have problem with Android Studio. Probably it is you, right? So I sent him a message and asked him to contact you and try to fix it, because sometimes it's going to take a very long time, and I don't have that time here to fix the issue. It can be sometime also your hardware, because Android Studio is very heavy. I don't know the configuration of your system. Moreover, for virtualization, as you know, we need to have this feature in your BIOS, basic input output system. I don't know if your system support it or not. So anyway, I already talked with Santosh, and he will be in touch with you to fix the issue, hopefully before Monday. You're welcome. Any other question? No? Everything is clear? Okay. So let's start with simple Java review. So I'm going to maybe, yeah. So I'm going to ask you some question. I want to see what do you know Java, because here we need to use a lot of concept that we had in Java, and I have no idea what did you cover, especially in Java 2. What you did in Java 3 is swing, as I heard from you. It's not relevant to what we want to do here. But Java 1, Java 2, we really needed every single bit of it. So, moreover, the question that I'm going to ask you now is all our interview questions. So you can assume that you are in interview, right? So you have to be able to answer these questions anyway. So question, and I start with the simple questions. So raise your hand, or you can write in chat. Which one do you prefer? Right, you can raise your hand. You can just start talking if you want, or you can raise your hand, or you can write in chat. So any way you like. So I'm going to put the chat box in front of me so I can see what you type. So what is the difference between JVM, JRE, and JDK? Very simple. You had how many, you know, this is your last course, right? So you are a senior student, last course. So I expect to see you have a very good knowledge about object-oriented design, and also you had Java 1, Java 2, Java 3, data structure and algorithm, and all these courses was with Java, right? Yes? Who was your teacher for data structure and algorithm?
Gregory Prakowski.
Okay, you also, and what did you do there in data structure and algorithm?
Fractals.
What?
C#. We did C# and
we did fractals, we did binary tree, linked list. What else? I think this is mainly. It was a short course. It's just like 9 days.
Right.
So mainly we cover this, yeah, list, like linked list and binary tree. What hash map, hash table.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, and fractals. Yeah, and that's
okay. Okay, so what is the difference between JVM, JRE, and JDK? You don't know?
no idea.
What is the difference between object-oriented and event-driven programming?
I find the issue with a lot of questions like this is we understood how to use things and not necessarily why we would want to use one technique over another. Speaking personally, right. Of course.
Yeah, and it is a big issue because always more important than how is why and when, right? As a designer, as a developer, when you want to implement an application, you have to know, okay, this is object, and but you have to know why and how. And the reason that I ask you this question, because if I see that you don't know, I design my course in a base that I can cover these topics. So it's good. And again, as I said, it's going to be helpful because this is your last course and you will go through interview. And as you see, you know, in Montreal, usually, how many of you had interview in Montreal? Coding interview?
Most of us.
What?
I think most of us.
Most of us. Okay, very good. How was it?
Fine.
It was an online interview?
Yes.
I think so, yeah. It was online interview. So what type of question we see? Data structure, algorithm, object-oriented, these kind of things?
Nothing about this.
So what did they ask? Data structure. Majority of the company going to evaluate you. How many of you use LeetCode or HackerRank or these sites for interview question? No? Have no idea what is it?
Yes, I had.
Yeah, you did? Which one did you use?
It was Code Wars, something like this.
Right. Raise your hand if you had an interview. Raise your hand. I want to see how many of you had interview. Okay, not much. So, yeah. So it looks like you just started, right? Very good. 4 or 5. Lower your hand, please. Okay, so the idea here is like that. In the past, it was on-site interview. So we used to go to the company and wait maybe for 10, 20 minutes in a waiting room. And then we go in a cell, I don't know, in conference room. 1, 2, 3% start asking different questions. Sometimes it was a board and they ask us to solve a problem on board, ask about our background and these kind of things. And at the end, it was a short list after 1 week, 2 weeks. And then they call those guys, short list, and they ask them to implement a project based on the job. So if it was UI, or I don't know, backend, Java, C#, whatever you want to do. And then some people are going to, in the company, evaluate your project, the way that you did it, and then select a small group of people, maybe 3%, and then these 3% again invited to the company, talk with the team lead, because even if you want to join a very big company like, I don't know, Hitachi or Ericsson, these are the companies I've worked in the past. So you're not going to join a company with 100,000 people. You're going to join a very small group, 5 people, 6 people. They are focused on very specific target, specific dates, and you are one of them, right? So the team leader of that small team going to see those 3 guys, final people, and select the one who feel that are more comfortable and can work with that person. But because of this COVID, I think that thing they're not going to happen again, the old approach. So everything going to be probably online, or majority at least. And the idea is usually middle-sized companies. So we have 2 different type of companies, very teeny tiny small companies or a startup, small startup, let's say. They will not ask you any question. They just have a project. They want you to show them something that you did in the past. And if they like you and you don't expect a lot of salary, they are going to ask you to do the project. That's one way. The other way is you want to join middle-sized or big companies. Like I have some students at Ericsson, Bell, I don't know, IBM, you know. So if you want to join those companies, in that case, or even middle-sized companies, this is the process. So they are going to redirect you to some sites like HackerRank or LeetCode. There will be some question about concepts. Always start from concept. What is object-oriented? What is this? What is that? The question that I plan to ask you now. And then it is going to be algorithm. So they are going to ask you to solve a problem because they want to see if you are a problem solver or not, right? And then at the end, they are going to assign you a project to implement the project because they want to know if you are a clean coder or not, right? And then they are going to select someone. So this is the process. Without the concept that is the basic, and you have to be able to talk about it, there is no way that you can pass any interview for a middle-sized or big company, right? So, and it is not difficult. These are the things that you had in the past. You can also do self-study, but it is good to know and practice, right? The topic that you want to spend a lot of time probably for your interview is data structure, algorithm, and object-oriented design. These 3 things are very, very, very important, right? Happily, you had data structure and algorithm, so you're familiar with some of the data structures that we had, but you have to know when you are going to use hash map, when you're going to use, I don't know, linked list, when you are going to use array list, and other data structures that we have. For example, one of the questions recently one of my students received was to implement a project. Actually, it was like shopping. It was very simple. Assume that you have array of items. And the first time you want to implement the code in a way that's going to be very simple to read and maintain and understand. The second time, it's going to be very expandable, easy to maintain, easy to expand. And the third time, it should be very efficient, right? So 3 different approaches. So clean coding, again, it is very important. So how many of you are familiar with Uncle Bob? Who knows who is Uncle Bob? No idea, Uncle Bob? Okay. Okay, so as I said, today this is 4. So I'm going to ask you some questions to see where are we. And then I plan my course and we can, based on that, to cover the topics that I think you need to know. Please try to be responsive. What is the difference between object and class? And these are very simple things, very basic things, very simple. You don't know? What is the difference between object and class?
Can you hear me or no?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay, because I thought it doesn't work. Well, object is some real life entity, and class it's an instruction how to create this object.
Very good, close enough, right? What is the difference between instance variable, local variables?
Sorry, what was the question again?
Instance variable, local variable. Don't know. What is the difference between protected and no access modifier in Java? You know public, right? You know private. I'm sure that you know public and private. Everybody know that. So, but we have 2 other access modifier, protected and no modifier. You know what is the difference between these 2?
No difference. I don't know without anything. I think by default it's protected. I cannot remember, but it's by default something. Maybe protected. For that,
No,
my answer will be same.
It's package access, I think.
Who said package?
Me, Palinas.
Yeah, both of them are accessible in a package. But what about the outside the package? Protected and no modifier.
It's just public.
What about subclasses outside the package?
If it was protected and inherit from that, it can access to that.
Very good. So if it is outside the package, by inheritance, you have access. Otherwise, no, with no modifier, you don't have. So no modifier, it is only package level. So what is encapsulation? Why we need it?
To protect variables and methods related to class.
Why and how? What do you mean by protecting it?
That they can be accessed only through getters and setters.
So what do you do in getter and setter?
Getting value and setting value.
And getter and setter must be public?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, it should.
Okay. Okay, so what do you do in getter and setter?
In setter, we assign value, and we can also do some validation. And
very good.
Getter, we get value.
Yeah, and maybe you want to modify and do some formatting. Maybe the way that you want to present the data is going to be different from the way that you save it, right? So you can change it. So what if you do not do any validation? So in your setter, is there any value for having a setter? Assume that you have an instance variable price, right? And you have you make it private, so people cannot access that private price, right? You don't want everybody can assign anything to this price, right? But then you have a public setter set price, and it is going to receive an integer and assign it to that price instance variable. So do you see any issue here?
You won't be able to set it.
Yeah, we want to be able to set it. Of course, we want to be able to set it. But the question is, if you don't have validation.
Yeah,
So
you don't necessarily have to have validation. If you don't have it, you could still set it, but you'll have problems. You might get into logic errors.
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't want to do validation, what is the use of setter? Because you can set negative price. You can set, I don't know, whatever you want. So it's like you make your instance variable public. So what is the difference between having a private instance variable and public setter that do not do any validation and anyway assign whatever you pass? What is enum? When we use enum, what is enum? Did you work with enum in Java?
Yes.
It's
an array of values that cannot be modified. Well, it's like an array.
Set of values, yeah.
It's a set of values that cannot be modified. Okay. That when you're accessing something for it, it has to be one of those values.
Very good, very good. So if somebody asks you in interview, when you use enum, what is your answer?
When you have a set of predefined values that has to be chosen from.
Very good, excellent. So, very good. So you can say when we have a variable with limited number of values, right? When you have a variable limited number of values, so assume that you have a name. Name can be anything. So we don't have limited number of values. But when you have something like weekdays, so it is going to be Monday, Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. So it's not anything. It's just 7 days. So we have a variable with limited number of values, and we prefer to use enum. So is it a good idea to avoid a string in your application? A string as a type? People say stringifying your application. So is there any issue that's overusing a string everywhere?
Not if you not if you do validation after.
Not if you do validation. So if you have an option to use enum or a string, which one is preferred?
Enum.
Enum. Why is that? Because
then you're forcing the user to you're limiting the errors.
Very good, because always your application is like a state machine, and you want to go from one known state to other known state. You don't want to see your application going to an unknown state, so you assign something that you don't know what to do with that, right? So your application going to freeze or crash. So we want your application to be predictable as much as possible. So your goal is to make user input as predictable as possible, right? So you don't want to have some situation that you don't know what to do. So what is static?
Cannot be changed?
No.
Accessible,
oh, sorry.
Accessible without instantiated.
No, wrong.
Let's say.
It's when it makes method or variable not depend on object. We do not have to create an instance of class to be able to something like this.
Yeah, close. Yeah, close. Very good.
It
so
basically, okay, sorry.
Pardon? Sorry, I cannot hear you clearly.
Oh, that's what I suspect. I'm going to try to change my mic.
Yeah, I cannot hear you. So
Have you ever thought design pattern? So the keyword that I'm asking you now are, we need all of them in this course. That's why I'm asking.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Static, it means that method or variable is declared for the whole class, not for object. We don't need to create object of this class to be able to use this variable or method.
The static fields belong to the class, not object, right? The static field belongs to the class, not object. So if it is accessible or not, it depends. We have another keyword, access modifier. You can make it public, private, protected. And then that's the keyword that's going to decide about accessibility. If you can change it or not, we have another keyword. What is final?
Cannot be changed.
Yeah, when you initialize
Constant.
it.
Yeah.
So singleton.
Sorry, we can't hear you properly.
You can, okay, so let me just maybe go back to my headphone. Just give me a second.
So do you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So what is singleton?
It is a design pattern.
Very good. It is a design pattern. So what kind of design pattern is it?
You cannot instantiate more than one object of the class.
Excellent. Very good. When you have a class, but you don't want to have more than one object from that class, right? You want to have unique instance of that class. You're going to use singleton design pattern. So we have 4 different type of relation between objects. Can you name them? Different relation between objects? One of them is very famous, you should know.
Inheritance?
Very good. What about the others? Have you ever heard about composition, association, aggregation? Yes? Yeah, okay.
Heard
Inheritance,
about it, yes.
yeah. You just heard? The professor, the previous teacher didn't cover it?
I think they did, but understanding was pretty gray, vague.
Yeah, okay.
From my side, at least.
Yeah. So what is coupling and coherence? Have you ever heard coupling, coherence? What is it? No?
No.
What is the difference between comparator and comparable?
A comparator is a method that actually compares.
Is a method?
Might be using the wrong word.
The opposite, I think. The opposite. One method, one class. Yeah.
So, yeah. And continue, please. We use it for what?
To compare two values. Well, two instances, I believe.
Okay, 2 instance, not okay.
Not values.
So, yeah. And what is interface?
The comparator is a class that implement a comparable interface.
Comparator and comparable are 2 interface, right? They are interface. So what is interface? So it is not a method, it is an interface. So what is it? Why we need interface? And we have a lot of interface in Android, a lot. So question is, why? What is it?
The number of methods that the class have to implement.
Number of method class have to include. So why we should get, let's say I have a student class going to say this class going to have 4 methods. I put it in interface 4 method. You're going to have 4 like that?
No.
No, it has to do with
the list of
Must
methods.
be one class.
No, it has to do with inheritance.
Okay.
Right. So what is abstract class?
It's a class without any defined methods. Or
No.
my terminology is off.
Yeah. So these things are in. Yeah. Well, go ahead.
No, sorry. It's not defined class, but a concrete class with a concrete method.
Without concrete.
It's without without concrete methods.
No, but kind of you know something, but
yeah, but there's so many terms and they all get mixed up.
Yeah, you know something.
Like everything's in a blender.
Yeah.
Okay. Abstract class cannot be instantiated.
Yes, and why is that?
Because also they have abstract method, right?
Which means having an abstract method means what? What is the abstract method?
It's not implemented, let's say. You need to implement it.
So can we have an abstract class while all methods are concrete?
No.
We can. We will see. So can you name 3 sort algorithms? You want to sort or elements in or mobile application. So we have to use some sort algorithms. Do you know? Can you name 3?
Sequential, binary, or sort, right? No.
No. Okay, sequential? No. So what is generic? Again, we have a lot of generic in Android.
It's an undefined type?
No. Undefined type? No.
Well, it uses a generic to... Well, the type will get defined afterwards. When it's instantiated.
Again, you know something. It related to the type, but not the way that you're explaining. Very good. So what is inner class that you're going again use a lot in Android? What is inner class?
It's a class I defined inside another class.
And why we do that?
To perform a specific within that class only?
Kind of. Close. Very good. Yes. It's
to group some of class, to group class together inside.
Grouping is the right keyword. Using inside another class right hint, yes, but still not clear enough. What is polymorphism? Again, you are going to use polymorphism a lot.
It's a word we haven't heard since about November.
Where you instantiate let's say a class, let's say from the parent class.
Okay.
Defining type of child class, let's say.
And then again, you heard something that it's not clear. What is it?
Something like in our mind, we cannot put it in correct sentence.
But it's clear. You heard something. You heard something. Right. So what is big O?
Sorry?
Big O.
It's a type of data structure.
No.
Or a method of...
complexity of an algorithm.
Yes, it is. It is a measurement that we use for algorithm scalability, right? How we can make an algorithm scalable, how we say if this algorithm is scalable or not. Any idea? So the last part, last questions, we are close to the last. What is thread and what is process? What is the difference between thread and process?
Each process have multi-threads?
Each process can have multiple threads. And what is thread? What is the difference between parallel processing and concurrency? No idea? Okay. What is heap?
Never heard of it. HIP. HIP
Really?
or HYP? I haven't. Or I probably don't remember.
It's a data structure.
Part of the body.
Very good. It's a data structure, but it is a very super important data structure that you must know.
Like a tree that's not a tree.
Okay, so what is stack?
Stack last in, first out.
First in, last out, yeah.
No. Last in, first out.
LIFO,
first out.
last in, first out.
Yeah.
So what is FIFO, first in, first out?
Q?
Very good. Yes, yes. Who knows what is solid principle? Solid? No, never heard of solid? Okay, so yeah, now I have an idea where are we. Guys, we have a lot of work to do, okay? So I will try to talk about these concepts that I just asked you. And I'm sure that your teachers in Java 1, Java 2 probably talk about these concepts, hopefully. But it's a long time ago, probably you don't remember. Most of the concept that I asked you today was part of Java 2, which is object-oriented design. So that's the course you have to learn all of these things. So one more thing, what is hash? Who knows what is hash? What is hashed collections in Java? Hash map, what is it? Why hash?
Well, we used it to encrypt passwords and sensitive information, stuff like that.
So what is the difference between hashing and encryption?
Good question.
Hashing is kind of, again, it's the idea there, but I don't have the right one. But it's kind of, I don't know, assign value to let's say a class or table as
assign value? No.
Not assign, let's say associate or something for the object you so you give let's say 1, 2, 3 for objects you initiated. Something
serializing?
No. What is serialization?
No, but that's basically what he's explaining is serialization.
No. Okay, now what is serialization?
Assigning keys to the values.
No. Serialization? No. No.
Isn't hash is like use it in sort instead of looking at the values. It's like index type of thing.
Can be used as an index, but no, hash is not index, right? And there is a huge difference between hashing and encrypting, huge. Do you know what is it? Hash is one way. So you can hash a like movie when you download it from Netflix. So you have, let's say, 2-3 gigabytes of movie or data, and you will have a hash. The hash is 256 bytes. It is a fingerprint of that data, but encryption is two-way. Hash is one way, encryption is two-way. There is no way you can go back from 256 or 512 fingerprint to the data that you had, the whole data. But when you encrypt something, the whole data is there, you can go back. So there is a huge difference between encryption and hashing, and we have hash collection like hash set, hash map, and we will see why we have them, how we use them, and what is the role of hash there, right? And this is something that I expected to see you covered in data structure and algorithm. So one last question. You are doing OOP, right? The whole year you did OOP, right?
Right.
So when you are allowed to use inheritance? Anytime you like?
Sorry, say that again. Question.
When you are allowed to use inheritance? You know? Have you ever heard about single responsibility principle?
Yes.
What is it?
Every method or actually section is responsible for only one action.
What is section?
Well,
every method one, so good. That part was good.
Yes.
So if I ask you, what is the best practice, the length of method or number of arguments you can have for method, do we have any standard, something from software engineers, leaders, that's any recommendation? Or no, we can have any number of arguments, the method can be as long as we want, there is nothing there.
I seem to recall a method being about 10 to 20 lines, and a class being about 100 to 200 lines or something as a general standard, or not necessarily a standard, but a guideline. So I have them too long.
Yeah, the idea that we have some recommendation, as you said, is right, but what you gave us not right, so we will talk about that. Any idea
number
about
of time we call it, or number of times we invoke it, or
pardon?
It's the number of times we have to use that at a
so
different.
What is?
Oh.
Okay, so number of time that we call a method, what is the relation? You say there is a relation between number of time we call a method and the length of method? That's what you're saying?
Oh, I think I'm not understanding correctly.
No, the question was the length of method. Can I have a method 100 lines? Or no, it should be short? Or no, we don't have anything. It goes as long as it should be. I don't know. So do we have any recommendation for method length and number of arguments can we have in a method? So is it good to have a method with 5, 6, 7 arguments? Yeah, that's okay, no problem. We don't have any recommendation. There is no best practice, or there is. Okay. Okay.
We're in big trouble.
No. You're not in big trouble. Why big trouble? Actually, you learned, compare yourself. You see, guys, many people go to university Okay, many people go to university for many years, and I know a lot of those guys. 4 years, 3 years, 4 years, bachelor, master, even PhD, and at the end, if you ask them to implement something small, they can't, right? They can talk, but they cannot do anything, right? The advantage of college that I really like it compared to university is being practical, and we don't have a lot of useless things that nobody cares, basically, right? So it is a very big advantage. Moreover, in this program, I hear from students time to time that they complain that, you know what, we jump from this to that, and none of them are deep enough, right? And we are confused. So you can think of it as a, some restaurant that you can go and you can try everything, right? So you tried a bit PHP, you tried a bit, I don't know, C#, tried a bit Java. So you have a taste of many things, right? Moreover, you can show those skills in your resume. So if somebody search engine looking for a PHP, you're going to see, oh, this guy maybe, right? Or UI or Java or C#. So your contact with the market is better compared to somebody just can do one thing, right? It increases your chance to have a job, right? But yes, what you did here was too fast and not deep enough, but you can select. No, you are completely different from the day that you joined the college. You are different people, different skill, different idea, right? So your job is now to select and see what you want to be. You want to be Java developer, UI developer, C# developer, PHP developer, what you want to do, and go deep in that direction. And you know enough to be able to independently learn, go for online learning, I don't know, boot camps, books, and do self-study and improve yourself, right? So if you want to be PHP developer, it doesn't mean you have to be very good in Java. Why, right? But you have all of these combination and it works. I know that it was better if you had more time, right? Of course it was better. Of course it was better if we had, teacher that know new frameworks that teach us latest technology. But it's not easy. In college, they work really hard to find teachers, and it's not easy to find. Look at the class that we have for Android. Why I'm here in the afternoon, Friday afternoon? Because there isn't any other teacher, and they tried really hard, right? So it's not easy to find those people, and you just spent 1 year here in John Abbott. You didn't spend 4 or 5 years, right? Compared to the time that you spent here, I think you gained and learned a lot of things. I know it is not perfect, and I agree with you that some of the things that you mentioned expired and not useful anymore. And I agree that some stuff are missing, and that's why they upgraded the program, right? But still, even in upgraded version, when you want to teach something very advanced, first you have to find a teacher to know and be free and come and teach it, which is not easy, right? And that's why in Canada, we have a lot of, immigration category for high tech. Why? We don't have enough. That's why. If you want to go for big data, I don't know, machine learning, which is very hot nowadays. So, yeah, we don't have enough people, right? So that's why you have to also do some self-study. But you learned a lot of things, and you have the foundation. And based on what I heard from Ru, I try to design my course in a way that cover these topics, right? And we need almost all of them, the things that I ask you. And you will be fine. And another advantage of this course at the end of your program is it is close to your interview, right? So it is going to help you also to pass your interview, right? So don't worry. You will be fine, hopefully. The only problem that we have now, and I'm worried about you and all students, is this pandemic. That's the problem. The economy is very slow. It's difficult to find a job, and that's a problem, right? Hopefully it is going to be better till end of the year. I don't know. And next year we are going to have a better situation. Okay, so Any question? No question?
Many questions, just don't know where to start.
Yeah, okay. So today, the class is a bit shorter, and what I did, try to know you, because they say when you want to define a strategy, the first step is to realize where are you, right? Otherwise, you cannot choose the best path, right? So, and when you switch from teacher to teacher, the new teacher have no idea what you know, what you don't know. So this is what I always do. When we used to be in college, I usually had a written exam for students to see what they do, what they know in the first day. But no, we cannot have that written. No zero effect on your final grade. Just to know where are we, right? Just like an interview, let's say, right? And then I planned my course. So it looks that we have to spend partially, or maybe a few days on Java and object-oriented design to refresh you and to see that you're up to date. And then we can go to Android, right? Okay. What I'm going to do. What am I going to do now? So let's finish this first lecture here. I know it is sooner, right? So I'm going to ask Santosh to assign more time to you, and also I will assign more time in next sessions that we are going to have to cover. Let's say if it is till 5, I'm going to talk with Santosh also to see it's going to be 3 to 5 or 3 to 5:30, and the rest going to be in the morning. So I will do my planning. And I will update you on Monday with the course outline. So you will know that if it is going to be 3 to 5 or 3 to 5:30 and what you are going to do in the morning, midterm exam, final exam, project, everything. I will try to define everything for you, okay? And we will start probably with some basic Java to be sure that you know the concepts, and then we go to Android. My goal on Monday is to not only review Java, maybe not everything, but the concepts at least, and then be able to build several UI with Android Studio. So be sure your Android Studio is working, is functional, and there is no problem. I heard from Santosh only one person has problem. Am I right? Okay, so it's just one. Okay, any suggestion, any comments?
Can you give us some, sorry, go ahead.
Just for Monday morning, nothing with, because now there is no, let's say, exercises or something in Monday morning, right?
You mean you want to have an assignment for Monday? This is what you asked for?
Yeah. So Monday morning, usually we will practice this with Santosh, right?
Yeah.
We didn't do anything today.
Are we going to have a session on Monday morning?
Yes, you will have, and if not, I'm going to notify you by Mayo. So your job is to check your Mayo, but probably you will have, right? So first of all, I can ask Santosh to cover some material, or maybe I can give you some idea about UI, right?
Sorry.
Right, go ahead.
I was thinking, can you give us some kind of material where we could just like be at par for the for Monday or Tuesday, or for the like a Java type of thing?
Yeah,
reading materials or videos or something.
Yeah. there I can recommend 2 books, right? One for Android, one for Java, right? So let me go to. Okay. So let me share my screen again. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
So I recommend this book, or this is, I think, version 11. So also 10 is good. Java Liang, and this is Head First Android. I recommend these 2 books that you can read, right? Okay, so I'm going to close it. Let me also show you something in Android Studio. So did you create a new project with Santosh today?
We created, but we didn't actually do anything. It was just a basic project that was there.
Yeah, and we run it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, to check your environment. So I'm going to just give you some idea about what is what. So if you want to play with UI, you can.
If you could please record this section as this is the latest.
Yeah, yes, I will. Yes, definitely. So let me close. You know, there is a big difference between Android and iOS. Here in Android, because we use a lot of open source, right? And we are just patching and patching and patching and, stick different open source libraries together. So usually it's a bit slow, actually not a bit, really slow, and need a lot of resource, hardware and RAM and CPU, Projects are very big. For example, projects are 20, 30, 40 megabytes. The same project in iOS is 20, 30, 40 kilobyte. So there is a huge difference. And you see here, I'm going to wait a bit. And then I don't know why it is taking so long. Something changed. Okay. And you see, this is my CPU, see? CPU load. is a lot of resource. I'm going to wait to be sure that everything is good. Still, it is not good. So I have a very high CPU load. What is it? I don't see anything here. Oh, here. Ah, it is you. It is Microsoft Teams. Yeah, okay. Okay. So so I'm going to start recording. Okay, we are recording. So this is the first screen when you run your Android Studio, and you can click on this guy, create a new project. If you want to create a new project, I'm going to create a new one. We have different predefined layout, and in this course, we're always going to select basic activity or empty activity. Here we are going to use empty activity. Here again, you see we have this button that we don't want to. We want to have something very simple. What is the disadvantage of these views? It's going to create a lot of code and stuff for you that you have no idea what is it, and it's just going to confuse you. So I don't want to confuse you. We are going to start with something very simple, and we are going to go to next. So always you are going to select empty activity, right? Activity, actually, you can think of it as an MVC, right? We have view, we have model, and we have controller. This is your application name. I'm going to name it demo. So my application is going to be demo. You can name it to anything you want. And this is a package. Usually it is a domain name in reverse order. In my case, it is ca.masoud.demo. You can change it to anything you want. And this package name is kind of identifier of your application. So it should be unique. And that's why people use the reverse domain name, because the domains are unique. This application will be in my desktop. That's okay, because I want to delete it after, but you have to organize your project in a way that you prefer. In my case, my projects are like this. So if I go here, let me show you. So it is going to be, let's say here. So here, these are, for example, some iOS projects. See, so I have these numbers, right? So order that I teach them, for example, or when I go to each of them, then each of them have some sections one by one, and in each section I'm going to teach something. And name is very clear, so I know that, for example, it is about gestures, swiping left, right, I don't know, different things. This is about navigation. This is about control in action. So different things. The name should be clear and descriptive. So you can do the same thing. So here I have Android projects. Again, you can see these are Android projects, different Android projects. First one is layout, and then image, button, and this, and life cycle, and list, and next, and GPS. So I can really easily access the project that I want. So the names are very important. So you create this project as a reference. So I'm sure that after a while we will not remember anything about GPS when I talk about it, if we are going to have enough time and I cover this project, for example. Like the question that I asked you and you don't remember anything. So same story going to happen for, I don't know, PHP if you cover it a few months ago or other courses that you had. So it is important to have a small, clean, descriptive, well-commented project to use it as a reference. So each time you want to see what is their life cycle, you can come back to this project and see what is it. Again, if you create a very complex, big projects, it is not going to help that much. And the reason is, after a while, few months, you will not remember all details. And when you come back to that project, you will see a lot of things mixing with each other. And basically what you're going to do, you prefer to go to internet and go Stack Overflow and refresh yourself or learn it by doing research on internet. In that case, I think it is waste of time. So what is the use of these projects that you did? So make your project clean, descriptive, organized, so we can use them as a reference, right? And come back to each of them and see, okay, how I can do view binding. There you go. This is a view binding. You can see how to do view binding. Do not mix a lot of projects, even if you have large projects, which are good, right? But you need to have small projects that give you the fundamental elements that you learn each day, right? Create your sample projects if it is not provided by your teacher. It's a bit late for you, but anyway, even now, if you want to review your course, if you want to review PHP, if you want to review C# or other things, so you can create some small projects, and each of them you're going to explain and describe and comment one of the concepts that you have separate from each other to be easy to read, easy to understand. That's the most important thing. So one more question that it reminds me when I say easy to read, easy to understand. Who knows what is non-functional requirement? What is the difference between functional requirements, non-functional requirements? We will see what are they. So this is the path that I have, and you can click here and change it to any location that you want. And the language that we are going to use is Java. Official language for Android is Kotlin. It's just 2020, end of 2019, Google switched to Kotlin. So that this is the official language, but we still work on Java. And why is that? Because if you go to Indeed search for Kotlin, you will see maybe, I don't know, 20 offer in Montreal. When you go to Java, it's 1,500. That's why we still with Java, because of job market. And almost all application that you see in Android market is based on Java. People start moving to Kotlin, but no, it is too soon. Moreover, I can say Kotlin like modern Java. So it is JVM based. Java JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine, right? So it is a JVM base, and actually it will be translated to Java. So it is Java, but the only thing that happened, they created a modern appearance for Java, right? So the language is more cleaner, shorter when you want to do something. They added new features. So if you want to implement same feature that you can do in Kotlin with just one word, so maybe in Java you have to write a few lines, right? So here we have more advanced features. API, Application Program Interface, is the API that you want to use in your application. And we have different APIs. The problem with Android is we cannot go for latest API. Then the reason, who knows what is the reason we cannot use the latest API in Android?
And some of them, the latest version are probably not implemented to the new APIs yet.
No.
It's for long time supported, let's say. We'll go for long time supported version.
Yeah, maybe we have LTS, long-term support, but that's not it.
There is a lot of old devices.
Very good. So that's a big problem with Android that we have. This is not a problem with iOS, but with Android, we have this issue. So I'm trying to find something up to date about operating system coverage that it looks that I can't. So I'm going to come here, go to my OneNote, go to John Abbott, and I go to Android, right? And I'm going to go to environment, installation. We already covered installation with Santosh, right? So I go here to structure. So go up. And that's the problem. You see the problem here. This is Android 10, but only 8.2% of the market using Android 10, API 29. So you see the API level here, and you see the version of Android here. It used to be by candy names like Jelly Bean, Kit Kat, Lollipop, Marshmallow, and these kind of things. But then Google realized, it's very difficult for people to remember them, and it is confusing. So they switched to numerical system. And then we are going to have Android 10, 11, 12, 13. And at the moment, the latest version that we have is Android 10. The problem is we have a lot of old devices in the market. All the 8.2% can support Android 10. Again, it is not the issue with iOS. 98% always support the latest version. That's why we always want to cover 90% of the market. So we have to go back to here, API 22, although we have a lot of new feature, but nobody can use it. When you start working in a company, they will not allow you to implement a project in a way that's going to only cover 8% of the market. Nobody wants such application, right? So you have to cover 90% of the application. So you have to stay with Lollipop, or maybe here 21 or 22, or maybe the best scenario is this guy, 23 is the last one that we can do. For what we want to do in this course, it doesn't matter which one you select, but stay with one version. And the reason is, when you switch to 23, 4, 5, 6, each time it is going to download a lot of things. So if you have a hard disk issue, you will lose a lot of space, and it doesn't do anything for you. So stay with 23. So I go for 23, and although it is 84%, but let's say 85, but in North America and Europe, it is more than that. So it is a global map. So, but in North America or in Europe, it's maybe going to be over 90%. And when you create an application, usually that's your market, the wealthy countries, because the other countries that we have, usually they don't buy it, they just copy it. So you don't need to be worried about them. Except you want some application that you have a market there. And it is basically not your decision, it is your company decision. So they are going to tell you, this is the latest API you can use, and that's it, end of the story. So we are going to use API 23. So I'm going to finish.
Santosh actually told us to go with API 22 because it covers 90%.
Yeah, that's fine. 22, 23, that's fine. Yes, very good. So what I said is not far from what Santosh told you. If you already downloaded 22, stay with 22. That's fine. Right? I don't want to waste your hard drive. So I just try to explain why, and do not switch it because you waste hard. And see, it is how slow it is. My machine is relatively fast, 16 gigabyte Core i7, but still Android Studio is a bit slow. So you will be patient. You have to be patient with Android Studio. If you try to, while it is working and doing something, try to jump here and there, change this and that, it's going to crash. So please don't. You're just going to waste more time, right? Did you use IntelliJ in your Java courses? No? What is the IDE you used?
NetBeans.
NetBeans.
Oh, NetBeans. Nobody uses NetBeans anymore. So majority of the market use IntelliJ and Eclipse, and the most popular one is IntelliJ. Android Studio is based on IntelliJ that you can see here, right? And the good news, and it is very advanced. And why it is advanced, why it is good, because it is very good in error detection and error correction. When you have a mistake, when you want to update something, so it's going to give you a lot of recommendation, make your life far easier. 60% of the market use IntelliJ, so I highly recommend it. The only problem is it's very expensive, $600, I think, per year. But I registered John Abbott College, so as a student, you can give it for free as long as you have your email in John Abbott domain, right? So you have an email, right? I think it is your John, about the domain, right? You can go to IntelliJ site and register yourself as a student, and you can access to all their packages. So as you see here, I have IntelliJ for Java, PyCharm for Python. This is right there for .NET Core if you want to work. And this is WebStorm for JavaScript, UI, I don't know, this kind of thing you can use WebStorm. All of them are fantastic. So this is the first application that we have. So I'm going to explain for you what is what. So this is the root of our application, and we have here Gradle. Who knows what is Gradle? Gradle? Okay, so let's make it easier. What is Maven? Did you use Maven?
The packet manager.
Very good. Did you use it in your courses?
No, we didn't use Maven.
I'm really surprised. So Maven is a package manager and actually dependency manager, right? So when you want to build a project, we have some dependency to other packages, libraries that we want to import to our project. We have two ways. One way is to import them manually one by one. So we have to know where to find them, how to download them. Also, you have to know about the compatibility between different libraries, which version of this library will work with that. Another way that you have is to use one of these technologies, dependency manager that we have, like build and dependency manager, let's say. It's not just dependency manager, more than that, like Gradle or Maven. Here in Android, we are going to use Maven. And we have this module that you can see here. And these are the dependencies that we have. And by default, it's added to our system by Android. So I can go to Maven repository. And here is a site that you can go, Maven repository, and you can search for any keyword that you want, right? At least you have to know the keyword. So let's say I'm going to click on the first one. I don't know what is it. I don't care. And here you see that we have different versions, and you see the popularity. This one is something that nobody uses, and here just one. So it's not something popular, but we have different versions, right? And you see the release date. I can click on one of them. And you see here I have the code that I need for Maven. And here you can see I can copy this one for Gradle and other system that we have. So here in Android, we are going to use Gradle. So if you need to add a dependency to your application, you can go to this Maven repository. You can search it. At least you have to know the name. What is it? For assume that you want to process an image, you want to present an image. You have a library for machine learning. You have, I don't know, something that you put convolutional neural network, this, that. So you can come here and find the dependency, and you're going to copy. And then you copy it in your clipboard. You don't need to say Command C, Command V. And then you're going to paste it here. As soon as you paste it here, it will ask you, Android, to sync it again. So here you will see an icon. It's going to just work and going to download and add it to your dependency, and you can use that. Here we have another one. See, this is my module, and this is the project. And here is higher level definitions that I have. We will not touch these two parts in this course, so I'm going to close it. I just wanted to let you know what is it. So this is the project structure. We have our app, and this is the manifest. Resources. In resources, it is obvious we have different resources. So let me go there. My drawable folder is something which is drawable. There is a lot of critique on the internet and people, professionals, about the naming that we have in Android. But anyway, anything which is drawable, like images and this kind of thing, you can put it here, copy in drawable folder. And we have layout. In this layout, we can have your UI. So this is the UI, right? And here is the presentation, here is the code, and here is the presentation of my UI. So if I go here and add more exclamation mark, you see here, it will update my UI. immediately. So we don't need to run or do anything. Any change here will reflect here and you will see it immediately. So we have other presentations. So I can come here and say, only show me the design. Right? So here I can say blueprint. And what is the advantage of blueprints? Sometimes we have some element without any text. If I remove this text here, right? So if I remove this text, right, and go to design, you don't see anything, right? But when you go to blueprint, if you have those kind of elements, or you can go to design and blueprint, so you see that, oh, something is here, and you will realize that there is a UI element in the middle. It is going to be helpful to see the blueprint sometimes. And as I said, you can change it. So I'm going to stay with the design, right? You have this attribute panel. These attributes that you see here exactly are the same that you see in the code. I'm not going to use this panel. I'm going to use the code, use the XML. It's easier to read, easier to understand, and always accessible for you. That's okay if you want to use this panel anyway, but I'm going to use XML. Right, so I'm going to close it, right? This is the root element that we call it root element in our layout. And we have different standard for root element. This is constraint layout. We have linear layout, horizontal linear layout, vertical linear layout, relative layout, frame layout, many different layouts that I will talk about them on Monday. Here, I just try to show you the project structure, right? So, and this is a UI element that I have. So assume that I want to add new thing to my new element to my UI. So I have two ways. One way is to start typing here. So I can come here and say I have a text view or something, anything that I want. Another way that usually people do, they will go to actually here to design. See here, I have a split. When I go to split, I have the code and also the presentation. I can click on code. So I will only have code like this. And I can go to design and it is going to show me the design. So it is only design. This is a palette. You can select different UI elements like text. So these are different type of text that we have, text elements, buttons, different type of widgets, layouts, and containers, helpers. We are not going to cover all of them. I just want to show you that you can select or you can search for something. So here you can say, I want a button, and then it is going to bring the button on top for you. But this is common elements like text view and button. So let me drag and drop a button. So this is a button. I can drag and drop it here. See? Also, I can drag and drop a button in this area. That's another option that I have, right? And I can move it, right? I can move. Now I have two buttons. So I can move it maybe below this text, right? So there you go. Now I have two buttons. And I can go to split view and see, I have two new buttons, right? I have two new buttons. The code will be generated for you automatically. You just do drag and drop, right? Why it is red? The reason it is red is because for all UI elements, as I told you, always we need to define two things, dimension and location. The dimension is clear. It is based on this widget content, which is button, right? The text that I have. But you know what? The location is not clear. So we need to define some rule to fix the location of these two guys. Moreover, for each element, we can have an ID. It is not mandatory. If you want to reference these UI elements from your Java code, you need to have an ID. But if not, you don't need to. And the ID should be unique. So if I change this guy, for example, let's say I have an ID, all right? And I'm going to say this is the ID, and I'm going to make it the same as this one. And then, as you see, it is red because the ID, not only I have problem here, because the location is not defined clearly, also I have problem here because I have a duplicated ID and it is not acceptable, right? Okay, so this is the layout, and we can have many layouts, right? We can right click here, come to new and layout resource file. We can go to layout resource file and we can put a name. I'm going to name it demo, right? One thing that you have to pay attention is all names here in Android going to be lowercase, no space, and only underline or underscore. You are not allowed to use dash. You are not allowed to use number. You are not allowed to use a special character. It will crash. It will not work properly. So only lowercase alphabets and underline. That's it, right? We avoid any other thing. So the name is demo, and here, as you see, it is a constraint layout, and here I can change it to something else if I want. So let's create another constraint layout element. I know you have no idea what is constraint layout. Yeah, this is not what I want to do now. I just want to show you how you can create different files. On Monday, I will teach you the detail about different layouts and these keywords and what are the meanings and everything. So I can go to split, and here I can change it. So I can come here, select, and if I want to go to linear, I can say I want to go to linear layout, and it changed. So it means that you don't need to, there is no magic in the menus that you have. You always can go to the source code and change whatever you want from here, right? So don't think there is a magical thing happen behind the scene that if you don't select something from the menu, it doesn't work. No, you can come here. Here it is MIP map. And what is MIP map? MIP map? Don't know. This is MIP map. In computer graphics, MIP map, right? Or basically you have different resolution of images here, right? And why we have different resolutions, and each image is power of 2 of other image that you have usually. So why we have this hierarchy? Because we have different type of screens. We have tablets, we have small iPhones, we have large iPhones, Android devices, I say iPhone. We have high resolution, we have low resolution. So this MIP app give you this opportunity if you have an icon. So you are going to try different version or HDPI, MDPI, XDPI, or different version of one icon. So this is the icon, and I have it in different versions. So if you have an image, you can provide different version of image. If you have an icon, you can provide different version of that icon. And then Android Studio going to automatically use the right one. So you don't need to do anything about it. You just copy it and put it here. We have some third-party applications that they are going to generate these files for you. And also, we have this ability in Android Studio to generate an icon if you want. But usually, this is not your job. This is people from art school. They are going to design the application for you about the colors and themes and everything and icons. They just give you the JPEGs or whatever, and you're just going to use it. So we are not going to spend any time on that. We are not in art school. So value, what is the value portal? In value, we want to separate any values that we have from our code. So if you have a specific colors, you're going to put the colors here. You're not going to hard code color in your application. And you can double click on this icon and change the color if you want to any color you like. The other one is strings. So all strings that we have will be here. So again, we avoid putting the string in our layout. Let's go back to my layout like what I did. So I'm going to delete these two guys. I don't need them. Right? And here I have hello world, and this is just a simple text, and we are not going to do that. In the projects that I'm going to share with you, you will see that the text that I have is not in this strings.xml, but it is not a best practice. It is just to save time. In John Abbott College, we have always one big problem, and that's time. We don't have time, right? So we are not going to work a lot on UI to make it beautiful. You can do it in your time if you want to. And also the best practice is to move this text to this string XML and then reference them in your layout. How we are going to do that, you don't know. Again, I'm going to explain it later. This is just a tour about the project structure, okay? And also here you can have another XMLs, you can define them. Like values, if you have numerical value or any other thing, you can put them here. And it is going to make your application more maintainable. Another thing that we are going to do when you have your text here in this XML file is when you want to support multi-language, especially in Canada, and I will show you how to support multi-language, French, and let's say English or any other language. And when your user is going to change the language of its device, your application automatically will switch the language. Based on the XML file that you provided here, you will see how to do that. So you can have a multi-language application. Okay, so let me close them. So we are going to spend majority of our time here in this Java folder, and I have this main activity. This is the activity, right? This is a Java class, right? So, and this Java class is a special Java class. Why? Because it extends this app compat activity, and when you extend app compat activity, it's going to provide a lot of functionality for you. So without this extension, it is just a POJO. Who knows what is POJO? Plain old Java object. It's just a simple Java object. Doesn't do anything, has no idea about Android, but as soon as you extend app compat activity, this class is going to be knowledgeable, capable, skillful for a lot of things, right? So I can show you the source code. So I go here. This is the app compat, and we have a huge hierarchy here. So app compat extends fragment activity. I go there. Fragment activity extends component activity. So let's go there. Component activity extends component activity here, and it is going to extend activity again here. And this guy extends context theme wrapper, and then context wrapper, and then context. And you see we have a lot of things. So when you have this class and you just say extends app compat activity, it becomes a very complicated class that we are going to see, right? So we are not going to cover all these super classes that you saw, but and we will go step by step. So be sure that I do my best to avoid confusing you and make everything very clear. So for me, understanding is the most important thing. I want you to have a very clear understanding about Android development at the end of this class. So what do we have here? We have a reference to our UI. So here, I have a question. So what is this? What is this?
It's a super class.
So it is super class. So it is a reference to
super class.
Very good. Yes. Yeah, it is a reference to super class. Yeah. Yeah, parent class, super class. You're right, right? Not the class itself. So it is not a super, it is a reference to object that we have in super class. And it is in the heap that we are going to talk about it maybe on Monday. And then we have this method. Where does it come from? Do you see this? This is a method, right? Or no, it is not. What's this? Where does it come from?
In the from the app compat activity, I guess, or the global.
Very good. Very good. When you have a method, which we are not calling this method on an object because we don't have dot notation here, and you don't see any method in this class with this name set content view. So the only way that we have to assume that, okay, it come from our ancestor somewhere from our super classes, and that's true. The value that you have here is a bit weird. R.layout, that activity main, what is that? Again, I will talk about it on Monday, but basically it is a reference to your layout. So it is a connection between your controller. This is your controller in MVC, you can say, and this class is your view. right? From here also, we have a reference to our Java class. Can you show me the line that is a reference to our Java class? Basically, the question is how this layout knows what is the Java controller for this layout. Maybe here we have a lot of Java class. In this case, we have one, but maybe I'm going to add more and more. How this poor guy knows that which one is the controller for this layout.
Context.
Very good, line 8. And it is a reference to my Java class. So I go there, see here, this is a class. So, and here I have a reference to my layout, right? So Monday, you will see that how I'm going to define some references from controller to my layout and work with them. And before that, we are going to define different type of layouts here. Okay, so yeah, so that's it. I think that's enough for today. I just covered the project structure, right? An introduction to Android, review, not review, just some kind of evaluation about your Java. What you can do till Monday? A very good question. Review Java. So this is what you can do. Review your Java. As you said, it is a long time that you didn't cover it. So Monday, I will try to review Java for you, answer the question I asked you today and you didn't answer. And, you know, all of them are interview questions. So anyway, you have to know them. And majority of the question are object-oriented design question or data structure question. So it doesn't matter what you want to do. If you want to do PHP, you want to do C#, you want to do Java, doesn't matter. The questions are the same, right? So it's good to know. So we are going to start reviewing Java and working on the layout, and we go forward. Also, I'm going to share with you the course outline. So you will see the plan for each day. Any question? No? Very good. Yes? Right. Right. I don't know because it is a long time. I didn't work with Windows 7, right? So it was long time ago. So honestly, I don't know. It can be, right? I'm not sure. So, but I asked Santosh to work on the problem and be in touch with you. Okay. Also, you can do your research. So do not rely just on Santosh, right? Do your research. Try to find the problem. Try to solve it. But also, Santosh is working on it. Okay. Thank you. Any question? No?
Excuse me, can I ask you a favor?
Yes.
Just give Santosh access for recording the morning session. Because he said that he doesn't have access for recording.
I can't. It's Alan. So I'm going to contact Alan, and maybe also Alan cannot fix the problem because it goes to the managers and IT department, and yeah, it has some complexity. One option that you have, and I talked with Santosh, is to switch to Zoom, right? If you have difficulties with Microsoft Teams, with Santosh, because Santosh is like just graduated, so he doesn't have access to Microsoft Teams anymore. That's why you see Santosh as a guest. So because it is a graduate student.
Yeah, but in Zoom you have session for 40 minutes. That's it. So
yeah, but in college they have ID. They have accounts, so they don't have this problem. So one way is to switch to Zoom, or maybe fix the problem. So one of you can communicate with Alan and ask him to try to fix the problem, right? Also, I'm going to talk with Santosh and see what we can do, right?
Okay, thanks. I will send Alan a message. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so if you don't have any other question, I'm going to end this session for today and see you on Monday.
Thank you. See
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Don't forget to review Java. Bye.